Most people believe power comes from strength, from dominance, from being louder, more confident, more needed. But real psychological power begins the moment something unexpected happens. The moment you stop needing, not pretending, not suppressing emotion, not acting cold, but genuinely reaching a place where your emotional survival no longer depends on someone else's reaction. Because here is the truth almost nobody explains clearly. In every relationship, romantic, social, or emotional, there is always an invisible balance. And that balance is not decided by who loves more. It is decided by who needs less reassurance to feel complete. Stay with this carefully, because what you are about to understand changes how attraction, respect, and emotional control actually work beneath the surface. Most people lose power without ever realizing when it happened. It doesn't happen during fights. It doesn't happen during rejection. It happens quietly, the moment one person begins to emotionally lean harder than the other. At the start of connection, both people stand equal. Curiosity flows both ways. Attention moves naturally. Energy feels mutual. But slowly, almost invisibly, one psychological shift appears. One person begins to invest emotional certainty faster. They start waiting longer for replies, reading deeper into tone, adjusting behavior to maintain closeness. And they believe this is love. But psychologically, something else is forming. Dependence. Human attraction is deeply tied to autonomy perception. The brain constantly evaluates one silent question. Does this person choose me, or do they need me? Choice creates attraction. Need creates pressure. And pressure slowly kills psychological freedom. When someone senses that your emotional state depends on them, their subconscious changes posture. Not intentionally, not cruelly, naturally, because the human nervous system moves towards stability, not responsibility. Here is where most people misunderstand relationships. They believe emotional availability equals emotional dependence. But these are opposites. Availability says, I value you, but I remain whole without you. Dependence says, I feel incomplete unless you respond. One creates safety, the other creates silent weight. And the brain, especially in attraction dynamics, instinctively moves away from emotional weight. Not because someone stops caring, but because psychological space disappears. When space disappears, curiosity dies. And when curiosity dies, attraction quietly weakens. This is why many people feel confused when effort increases but connection decreases. They try harder, give more reassurance, more attention, more explanation, but each increase unconsciously signals something powerful. I need this connection more than you do, and the balance shifts. The human brain is designed to respect emotional regulation. Someone who regulates their internal state without external validation signals stability. Stability equals safety. Safety equals authority. This is not social dominance, it is neurological perception. When a person remains calm even in uncertainty, mirror neurons in the other brain register them as grounded. Grounded individuals unconsciously become emotional anchors, and anchors naturally hold influence. But when someone becomes reactive, checking constantly, over-explaining, seeking reassurance. The nervous system reads unpredictability. Unpredictability reduces perceived strength. And slowly, without intention, emotional authority transfers. People think the one who loves less has power. That is wrong. The one who fears loss less has power. Because fear changes behavior. Fear makes people overinvest early, over-communicate, over-correct. And over time, this removes mystery. Mystery is not manipulation. Mystery is psychological independence. It tells the other person, this individual has an inner world not fully controlled by me. And the human brain is naturally drawn toward what exists independently. Every interaction carries emotional currency, tension, validation, time, energy. When exchanges feel equal, connection grows. But when one person gives emotional energy faster than it is returned, imbalance begins. And the strange part? The giver often feels more attached, because investment increases attachment through cognitive commitment. The brain convinces itself, I must value this more because I have given more. Meanwhile, the receiver feels less urgency, not out of disrespect, but because psychological effort was lower. This creates the classic dynamic. One person chasing clarity, the other feeling slowly overwhelmed without knowing why. When someone does not emotionally cling, they create breathing space. Breathing space allows imagination. Imagination fuels attraction. The brain begins wondering, what are they thinking? What are they doing? What else fulfills them? And curiosity activates dopamine. Dopamine is not triggered by certainty. It is triggered by possibility. This is why emotional independence often appears magnetic. Not because it is calculated, but because it signals a full internal life. Power does not suddenly appear. It accumulates through micro-moments, not reacting immediately, not needing constant reassurance, not abandoning self-direction to maintain approval. Each moment tells the subconscious observer, this person remains centered regardless of outcome. And centered individuals become psychologically influential, because humans instinctively trust those who are not controlled by emotional urgency. When two people connect, an invisible psychological equation begins forming, not about love, not about attraction, but about emotional dependency. The brain constantly scans one question: who would suffer more if this connection disappeared? The person perceived as suffering more automatically loses psychological leverage. This is not cruelty. This is survival psychology. Humans evolved to move towards stability and away from emotional pressure. When someone appears emotionally dependent, the subconscious mind experiences responsibility, and responsibility quietly reduces attraction while increasing distance. This is why control is never created by dominance. It is created by emotional self-containment. Many people believe being fully available creates closeness, but psychology shows something more complex. There are two types of availability: secure availability, calm presence without pressure; anxious availability, presence mixed with fear of loss. The second one is what silently shifts power away, because when availability carries urgency, the other person feels unconsciously elevated. They feel chosen, but also unconsciously responsible. And responsibility changes emotional chemistry. The brain stops chasing and starts stabilizing distance. This does not mean they love less. It means they appear emotionally stable without external validation. And stability triggers something deeply primal. Safety mixed with curiosity. The human mind respects emotional independence because independence signals survival strength. Someone who can emotionally stand alone feels unpredictable, not in behavior, but in attachment outcome. And unpredictability activates attention. This is why mystery and emotional autonomy are connected. Not because mystery is manipulation, but because emotional self-sufficiency removes pressure from interaction. Scarcity is one of the strongest psychological forces, but scarcity in relationships is rarely about time or attention. It is about emotional reliance. When someone feels fully dependent, their emotional energy becomes predictable. Predictability lowers dopamine anticipation. And dopamine is not released by certainty, it is released by possibility. The person who needs less unknowingly creates possibility, not by withdrawing, but by existing as a complete emotional system. Every interaction carries emotional investment. Messages, reactions, reassurance, effort, all become emotional currency. When one person consistently invests more emotional energy, balance shifts. The brain interprets imbalance as hierarchy, and hierarchy forms authority. But here is the paradox. Most people increase effort when they feel distance, which increases imbalance further, which reduces their influence even more. They try harder to regain closeness while unintentionally surrendering control. When someone fears misunderstanding, they explain more. But repeated explanation signals internal uncertainty. And uncertainty weakens perceived emotional grounding. The mind trusts calm certainty more than emotional persuasion. This is why the one who needs less speaks less, not intentionally but naturally. They do not feel urgency to secure validation. An absence of urgency communicates strength. Think of emotional power like gravity. The heavier emotional center pulls others toward it. But emotional weight is not intensity. It is stability. People orbit those who feel internally anchored, because stable emotional systems reduce anxiety, and humans instinctively move toward regulation. At the beginning of connections, power often feels equal, but slowly patterns emerge. One person begins monitoring responses more. Waiting longer feels heavier. Silence creates anxiety. Thoughts become occupied. Attention narrows. And at that moment, without any argument or event, the balance changes. Not because love changed, but because emotional dependence increased. The one who needs less remains emotionally spacious, and spaciousness feels powerful. The most important realization is this: people who hold emotional power rarely try to. They are not calculating. They are simply less afraid of emotional loss. And fearlessness reduces reactive behavior. When reactions disappear, influence increases, because calm becomes authority. Once imbalance forms, chasing rarely repairs it. because effort motivated by fear communicates vulnerability, not confidence. The nervous system senses intention beneath behavior. Words cannot hide emotional urgency, and urgency pushes distance further. Real balance returns only when internal dependence decreases, not when strategies increase. Here is the paradox most never understand. The moment you stop needing control, control begins returning. Because control was never about winning. It was about emotional independence. The one who needs less is not colder. They are freer, and freedom creates psychological gravity. Testing is rarely conscious manipulation. It is an unconscious search for emotional certainty. When one partner senses the other becoming more emotionally invested, the brain begins asking, "Is this connection still equal, or am I now leading it?" To answer this, small tests emerge. Delayed replies, less reassurance, emotional distance, unexpected silence. These are not always intentional games. They are nervous system experiments. The mind wants to know, will this person remain stable or collapse emotionally? Because stability determines long-term safety. Here is the crucial psychological truth. People do not evaluate your love by what you say. They evaluate it by how regulated you remain when uncertainty appears. When distance creates panic, the brain registers emotional dependence, and dependence quietly removes authority. But when uncertainty appears and calm remains, something different happens. Respect increases, not because of indifference, but because emotional regulation signals strength. The moment reactions become intense, power shifts completely. Over-explaining, repeated checking, seeking reassurance, trying to fix emotional distance instantly. All of these behaviors communicate one hidden message. I need this connection to feel okay. And the human brain instinctively moves away from emotional pressure. Not out of cruelty, but self-protection. Because pressure feels like responsibility. And responsibility reduces attraction energy. Attachment anxiety does not look dramatic from outside. It looks like caring more, thinking more, trying harder, but internally the brain enters a threat state. Cortisol rises, attention narrows. The mind scans constantly for signs of rejection, and this internal tension leaks into tone, timing, and behavior. Even when words sound calm, the other person feels it subconsciously. An emotional polarity reverses. One becomes pursuer, the other becomes regulator, and power follows the regulator. When someone stops reacting emotionally, something unexpected happens. The psychological tension dissolves. Silence removes pressure. And without pressure, curiosity returns. Because humans move toward emotional spaces that feel open, not demanding. This is why the one who needs less often appears more attractive during distance. They are not chasing emotional resolution. They are emotionally grounded within uncertainty. Many misunderstand this stage and try to imitate distance. But forced detachment is easily felt. True emotional stability does not withdraw connection. It simply removes fear from connection. There is warmth, but no desperation. Care, but no control. And that balance creates psychological equality again. Real authority in relationships is not dominance. It is nervous system regulation. The person who can remain emotionally centered during uncertainty becomes the emotional anchor, because calm reduces internal chaos. Something subtle happens when emotional dependence decreases. Communication becomes lighter, reactions soften, presence feels natural again, and suddenly, effort from the other side increases, often without explanation. This is not strategy working. This is emotional balance restoring itself. Because attraction thrives where freedom exists. The deepest misunderstanding about relationships is this: people think control comes from holding tighter. But psychological control comes from being able to stand emotionally without holding at all. The one who needs less is not less loving. They are less afraid. And fear, not love, is what destroys emotional power. When fear disappears, connection becomes choice instead of survival. And choice is where real attraction lives. Most people spend years trying to change others, without realizing the real shift begins inside emotional dependence itself. The moment you stop seeking control, reassurance, or certainty, you stop losing yourself inside connection. And strangely, that is the moment respect begins returning. Because true power in relationships is quiet. It does not demand. It does not chase. It does not force outcomes. It simply stands steady. Take a slow breath now and notice something. The strongest position was never about needing less love. It was about needing less fear. And if this perspective helped you see relationships differently, stay with this journey. Subscribe to Voxlore Audio, because the mind that understands power is the mind that cannot be controlled.